So TikTok is getting banned. Apparently, that's what they're kind of saying. They signed a bill, the Senate and the House. Well, the House, they signed a bill that basically would give the president power, and in this case, President Joe Biden, give him power to ban TikTok if they don't sell or if their parent company ByteDance doesn't sell the app to, I presume, an American company or a non-Chinese company, right? And I find that really, I find it kind of troubling, right? Because, I mean, a man sits before the Senate and the House and continuously gets grilled. Sir, are you Chinese? Sir, are you part of the Chinese Communist Party? Sir, are you from China? And this guy continuously states, no, Senator, I am not from China. I am actually Singaporean. I served my country for 2 years in Singapore. And just to add more salt into the American womb, the owner of ByteDance is now actually based in Singapore. He now lives in Singapore. He doesn't even live in China anymore. I can't say that he's 1000% not involved with the Chinese Communist Party or anything like that. But it's like, if these people are moving, they're willing to move their entire company. They moved their whole company to a totally different nation with totally different ideals, totally different laws, and a totally different government. What is the cause for concern? And I know everyone's going to get on here and they're going to be like, well, it's because of our data. China's going to have access to our data and they're going to try to destroy the minds of the people in the United States. And to that, I say, how do you arrive to that conclusion with only one platform? If you're going to be somewhat questioning, I guess, if you're going to question one platform, you got to question all of them. Facebook and Instagram, they do the same thing. They get your information. That's how you can have your favorite reels and your favorite topics constantly available to you all the time. That's how your For You page seems to know you better than you know yourself. Every app is capable and is guilty of doing the same thing. YouTube, the app that I'm going to post this on, it does the same thing. If I appear in your recommendations, that means the algorithm has detected that there is something that could align with you being interested in the topic at hand today, right? Every app does what we are accusing TikTok of doing. Every app does that. The question is, what's the problem? And I think the problem is simple. You know, the US wants to maintain control over their people, control over the media. If TikTok was an American company, this would not be a problem. You could have the same CEO, you could have the same owner. If they were an American company, if they weren't like same owner as in same parent owner, not the company, but same parent owner, the guys could look all exactly the same. If ByteDance changes to any American company, I don't think we have an issue here. And quite frankly, I think it's ridiculous. I think it shows the prejudice of the American government, in my opinion. I mean, just think about this, bro. These people in the Senate don't even know how algorithms work. The reason your kids get the things they get on social media is because they look that stuff up. Maybe you should start teaching your children how to be more responsible on social media. Maybe you should find some facts and some factual evidence on how an algorithm works before you try and go ahead and challenge it, because it's clear that they don't understand how they work at all. My child is getting this, and that. It's because your child is looking it up. It's because your child has shown interest in that. That's not on the app. That's not on the company. That's on you. That's the definition of an algorithm. That's what it does. If your child is getting some questionable things, that means your child has been looking up some questionable things. Teach your kids, parents, teach your kids how to be safe on social media. Senators, teach your kids how to be safe on social media. Your kid makes a password. If your kid buys something, they enter their credit card information. They agree to these things. They agree to the cookies. They agree to all of that. You're agreeing to share that information. If you don't agree, you can't use the app. You know, that's just part of the transaction, right? You use my app for free, I get your information for free. That's the transaction nowadays. And I just dislike the fact that we're acting like that we didn't know that. Like, we know what YouTube does with our information. We know that they can sell it. We know that they can use it for their personal gain. They know that we know that they can use it to keep us on their platform. Oh, another video I like, click. Oh, another video I like, click. Oh, another video I like, click. It's just, I think it is a embarrassment, and I think it demonstrates just how little some of our representatives and senators, just how little they really know about technology nowadays. I don't claim to be a tech expert, but I do know and have at least some idea how an algorithm works. I do know, or at least have some idea, that my data is in the hands of these companies. When I enter my data in, these companies have a chance to collect it and sell it. I'm also aware that that's part of the transaction. You use my app for free, I get data. That's every tech company in the world. Not even just social media. Tesla does the same thing. How do you think Siri is able to adapt to your voice? Because Siri knows you. They know what your voice sounds like. They know what you like. They know what you want to hear. Why do you think the ads pop up on your phone? Why do you think they pop up on the internet? It's that simple, ladies and gentlemen. And I think that the ruling is wrong. I can understand people being kind of in fear of their information being all out there and companies having it. But at the end of the day, you agree to that stuff. When that long message that you ignore, you agreed to it. You did. That's just plain and simple. Now, if you want to delete the app and stop using it, that's on you, right? But you agreed to that transaction. You agreed to that original transaction. Maybe reading is just fundamental. Maybe you should just read. And then circling back to kind of the disgusting prejudice I've been seeing towards the CEO of TikTok. And it's not like they're like bombarding him with hate, but how do I explain to the US Senate and to the US representatives that just because somebody looks a certain way does not mean they're from a certain place or represent certain ideals? That man had to reinforce 7 times or even more in the Senate when he was grilled and when he was subpoenaed to the US Senate. 7 times did he have to repeat, "Senator, I am not Chinese. I am Singaporean. I am from Singapore. I serve my military in Singapore. I do not share these ideals." And furthermore, his children and his wife, according to him, are American citizens. Why do we continue to question, why do we grill him so much on that? He's told you where he's from. He's got the documents to support it. Why does he have to lie to you? Again, the owner of ByteDance, which is the parent company of TikTok, the owner is now currently based in Singapore. There is no circumstantial or any kind of evidence, not even circumstantial, just any kind of evidence. There's no evidence that suggests that this guy is a part of some communist party and he's trying to create some sort of mind control, data gathering game to give China an upper hand. There's no evidence that anybody has of that. That's the crazy thing about it. These are all just accusation after accusation after accusation. And anytime a decision is made based on strictly accusation with no evidence, it usually ends up being a bad and at the very, very best, questionable decision. It ends up being questionable. A lot of people could argue that this is hurting our free speech, right? A lot of people have jobs on TikTok. This is people's livelihoods you're talking about. I mean, even part of my livelihood's on TikTok. TikTok is my biggest platform by far. What's going to happen to all those people? Has the government even thought of that? What's going to happen when Charli D'Amelio can't post her content anymore, can't monetize her content? What's going to happen to those small businesses and small hip-hop and R&B artists that start their careers off that platform? What's going to happen to them? Are you just going to, expect them to all of a sudden, hey, I don't want to do this anymore, TikTok is gone, I'm going to go work at McDonald's? No, people aren't going to do that. There's no app that does that better than TikTok. There is no app that has provided more jobs than TikTok has, whether directly or indirectly. There's no app you can name. TikTok is the most popular app in the world. There's no app you can name that has given more people the chance to have their own jobs and employ themselves with their own content. So what's going to happen to all those people, America? What do you plan on doing? What's the contingency plan for that, right? And then I want to talk about all the other problems we have at hand. There's people shooting up schools. Prices are ridiculous. Inflation is getting higher and higher and higher. It's dang near impossible to go and buy a house outright if you're not spending under a certain amount of money. Taxes are incredibly high. Cost of living is incredibly high no matter where you go in the United States. We have all these issues, yet we decide as a government that getting rid of TikTok is going to take care of everything. That's embarrassing, bro. Come on. What are we going to do about the innocent children getting killed in schools due to school shootings? What are we going to do about the lack of gun control and gun laws we have? Women don't even have a right to their own body in this country anymore. Roe v. Wade, a couple years ago, that got reversed. Now abortion rights, they're in the hands of the states. In some states, women can't even get an abortion. What kind of democracy is that? Is that freedom? No, not to me. Anything that restricts me from doing what I would like to do with my body is not freedom. I'm sorry. That's just common sense to me. But, common sense ain't so common, and I understand that, especially when we're talking about the people we're talking about right now. It's like you have all these issues to address. I didn't even mention the issue of people, the border issue, the immigration issue. I didn't even mention that. How are we going to solve that? What's the plan for that? Right? It's like you have so many more important things at hand, but it seems like banning TikTok is the best way to go. Come on, bro. That's just ridiculous to me. It's ridiculous to me. If you were to ask me how we can be safer on social media, how about educate the people on what it really does? Educate the people on the data that's collected. Parents, it is on you to educate your kids on how to be safe on social media. It ain't on the owners. It's not on Mark Zuckerberg. It's not on the owner of TikTok. It's not on the CEO of Twitter. It's not on any of them. It is on you to teach your kid where to go and where not to go on the internet. That's on you. If your kid is participating in crazy, kind of unsafe, I'll say, activities on the internet, that is your fault. Partially, at least. It's at least partially your fault. That tells me as a parent, you have not taken the time to warn and educate your child about the various things, illegal things that go on social media and all over the World Wide Web, for that matter. It's like your child, or it's like somebody shooting your child, and instead of blaming the shooter, you blame the gun manufacturer. The gun manufacturer didn't say, hey, go shoot children with this gun. The gun manufacturer didn't say that. You have to blame the person. You have to blame who taught that person. You have to educate that person, right? I can't blame a gun manufacturer if my kid gets a weapon and uses it in a deadly manner. That's my fault. Why does your kid have a weapon? Why is your kid not educated on the power of this weapon? It's the same thing with social media. Why does your kid have social media at 9 years old? Why is your kid looking at all this stuff at 9 years old? Why don't you have parental controls on? Why is none of that on? You can't count on somebody else to just be your knight in shining armor and say, hey, I'm going to try and save everybody in the world. That's impossible. If you think Mark Zuckerberg can make the internet a 100% safe place, you are wrong, and you are probably a little bit naive and stupid. Right? I'm just going to say it. I don't want to call you anything. I don't want to say you're stupid. But the thought that comes into your head, if the thought that comes into your head is Mark Zuckerberg, or anybody for that matter, can make the internet a 100% safe place, it's a dumb thought. It's unreasonable. The internet has never been a safe place. Just like the world without the internet has never been a safe place. It's just ridiculous, man. I know I'm rambling on, but it's just, if it starts with TikTok, how much further can it go, right? Because I would assume that if we're gonna treat TikTok this way, we've got to treat every other platform this way. What's gonna happen with Instagram, Facebook? What's gonna happen with all of them? I understand that the CEOs, I understand that all these people that have this level of power in social media should be held responsible partially for their actions, right? You're gathering data, you're doing all of that. You should be held responsible. I'm not saying that that's 100% right. What I am saying is that the user must be held responsible also. The government must be held responsible also. Everybody needs to be held responsible for their part. Is collecting data on people 100% correct? No. But at the same time, you're kind of agreeing to it. When you agree to those cookies, like I said earlier, you agree to sharing your data. That's just the bottom line. Is the government 100% wrong in wanting to protect the US people? Of course not. But are they wrong for grilling somebody and constantly trying to say, you're from China, you're part of the Communist Party, are you from China? When that person is clearly stating that they are not? Yes, that's wrong. That's what we call prejudice. It's damn near racism. That's pretty much all I have to say. That's all I have to say. I'm not gonna ramble anymore. I hope that this made sense to you guys. This was kind of like a little, I guess, rage clip-ish kind of thing. Just the way I feel about it. To kind of conclude, I do not agree with banning TikTok. I think it's a ridiculous move. And I feel like if we were if we were treating every app the same, I wouldn't have an issue with it. But this feels very prejudiced. It's clear that they just want to get rid of TikTok because they have some sort of connection to China. I mean, that's it. It's funny because this fabric is from China. These watches, some of them come from China. This hat, from China. Some of this podcast equipment I'm using could be from China. Shoot, this Apple laptop I'm shooting on right now, a lot of these parts come from China. So it's funny to me. It makes no sense to me. It almost feels like a media control move. No, give us your company and we'll be just fine. It feels like that. But of course, I wish you nothing but the best. Stay blessed, stay blessed. I'm getting this video. Thank you for watching.